Shame in your eyes, with your mouth telling lies, and the guilt in your mind still grows.
So it's been 2 months since I've last posted, and I wanted to start this with a story. But this last holiday season was the first time I've actually gone on a Christmas vacation. Usually we go to my in-laws' house and then go up into the mountains to snowboard with my family. And it's usually about a 2-week gap of time off between work. And this year's the first year I actually didn't take a computer. I went full 2 weeks with never opening Sketch or my email. It was kind of a weird, awkward feeling for me. I've always carried my laptop, my vlogging gear, anything that I would need to make and create. But this year I didn't have the appetite, and I left everything at home. And the holidays were still chaotic and crazy and beautiful and enjoyable. But it was the first year that I did this, and it really made me think of why I haven't been posting. It's been 2 months since I posted a video, because I've been really just trying to figure me out. And I know that sounds nebulous and unclear, but I want to kind of dig into that for this video and just kind of give an update of where I'm at, what I plan for this channel, and then also some things that I've learned and things that I plan on doing this next year. So I was watching a video from Dan Mace. He's a videographer, a YouTuber that used to do a lot of advertising commercials. He worked with Casey Neistat, who you probably know. And he gave this really good video. I'll pop in a little clip here.
For the next year, when I go back to New York, and I also try to read at least 7 different kinds of books, but I kept falling asleep or losing interest. I gained a lot of weight. I lost friendships, I broke 3 cameras, I lost a laptop, as well as a full suitcase of clothes, and I spent all the money that I've made. I had to share those fails at the end there. As Wesley Snipes says, nobody tweets their fails, but, well, I would like to be one of the different ones that do, one of the real ones. This past year was one of the toughest years of my life. On the outside, it looks like it's just a story of a guy that changed from a director to a YouTuber, but it's about so much more, and I guess that's what the core of this video is about. I always struggle to let go, to say goodbye to the most amazing and difficult year that has just passed. You know, like most people, including myself, always speak about how they would like to go back in time to change an event or an action that would affect the present, without realizing that if you create change now, it will affect the future for yourself, for me, and for everyone else around you.
He had made this comment about like we should talk about our failures and our wins, but also like not focus too much on the past, because the past has already happened, and just to focus on the future. And I think there's beauty in both. I think we learn from our past, but I do think it's good to keep our mind on the future and not dwell on the past. So like looking back at 2018, like it was one of my most successful years as a designer. Was one of the years I traveled the most and got to see different parts of the world. Got to go to some of the best and most interesting conferences that I've ever have. Normally coming up in this industry as a designer and chasing my career, those are things that I would have like, you know, postmarked, put a flag in, whatever the phrase is, and been most proud about. Just I just wrote down some of the main points. Like I was able to go to Dubai to do 2 workshops at the Ing Festival. I was able to speak at a Figma event at Headspace and talk about design systems, got to meet a lot of that team. I did a workshop in Salt Lake City at the Front Conference, which was a huge opportunity. I also got to go to Paris and London for work to collaborate with the other designers globally within Chrome. And also got to attend Design Matters in Copenhagen with a bunch of other Googlers and awesome designers. And all of those things I am so thankful for. This isn't like a humble brag of all the cool things I did that I don't care about. Because I do care about them. I'm glad that I did them. I thought those things would have been fulfilling in a way that they weren't for me, or that they haven't. I'm really struggling to figure out the words that I'm trying to say, because I'm not trying to be negative and pessimistic, because that's like my standard tone. These sorts of wins and experiences, like traveling, speaking at conferences, part of the 2 main services in Chrome that launched the big 10-year anniversary launch, which was a big public thing, one of the most or more significant design releases I've had in my career. Looking at all of those things with career and with speaking and with design, I found myself in a very negative place and almost kind of resenting this industry and my position and my role. And I think it's a really bad place to be. And I've spent, honestly, the better part of this year trying to understand why. And I think there's this element of getting to a certain place in your career, like chasing this thing for so long, and then actually getting there and saying, well, shit, what's next? And 2018 was that year for me. I'm very thankful for the things that I was able to do, for the people that I met, for the opportunities that I had. But those things, those experiences, and those launches weren't nearly as satisfying, and those things didn't give me nearly as much joy as they have in the past. And that's really a hard thing to struggle with. And that has been why I haven't been posting as much. That's why I haven't been as active on social as much. I think it really gets down to the root of like, who am I? And I've talked about this in this channel a lot. I probably cried more this year. I wasn't planning on doing this part. Gosh, I'm such a crier. If you guys know me, you know I cry. I've cried a lot this last year. I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot about myself. And as I was analyzing the things that I would expect to be most proud of, or the biggest highlights of my year, I also outlined the things that I didn't expect to be big wins or things that I'm proud about or big achievements of my year, but they are. And so I want to share those too. I think one of my favorite parts of this last year was the first road trip that me and my wife ever really took with our kids. We piled our 3 boys and all of our stuff into our Ford Flex and drove all across the Southwest with our friends and did like a hike every day, never stayed more than one night any place. It was a crazy hectic schedule. We got to see Zion, the Grand Canyon, Sedona, Arizona. We got to see Monument Valley, all those beautiful parts of the Southwest desert here in North America. And it was like a very tiring and exhausting trip, but that amount of time and being unplugged and being in a car with my family was, I think, one of the more treasured parts of my year. I also like had little spurts of exercise, which I've never been a very like physical or exercisey jock kind of guy, but have been doing some running, a lot more cycling, being at the beach, getting in the water, and that for me has been something that has given exponential benefit for the pain and the effort that goes into it. I'm still learning to make that like a common practice, and it's not even really about like getting fit and losing weight. It's more about like what it does for me mentally, getting away from my computer and doing something physical, being outside. A lot of this insight to me personally has been rooted in a lot of the therapy that I've been doing. Visiting a therapist here at work and have been working through a lot of just weird mental things that where my mind goes that I haven't identified before without talking to a therapist. And it's, I think, been one of the most giving things that I've done this last year. One of the biggest things is like self-care. And coming from my background, coming from a conservative like Christian perspective, like self-giving love and being selfless is such a honored and desirable trait. And I've realized that that sentiment and that goal of being selfless and being like a servant leader as a father and in career and everything, as a husband, like consequence of me me feeling guilty for taking care of myself. And that's whether that's getting enough sleep, not eating my meals at my desk, going out and taking time for the things that I need to do for me to be healthy and have like a sound mind. I've been meditating, I've been using my time more wisely, and it's been a struggle to do those things, like to have the self-care that I need to be a better person or to be a good husband or father or employee. But it's been this therapy that's really helped me understand of the things that like I need to work on, me as a person, not me as a designer. And I think that's been the biggest switch for me in 2018. I had this little epiphany like a couple months ago, just around social media and identity and like how we portray ourselves online. And it's part of the reason I'm making this video as well. But like I deleted like whatever, like the description, like the tagline, I'm this, this, and this, and I care about these things, and check me out. Here's who I am. Like the elevator pitch of who your identity is online. And I realized how much weight that and how significant that was for me is like who I was online. Even doing this, doing vlogs, like how the content I produce and how I'm perceived in this space was a real important thing to me. And I got to this point where I realized that I don't actually care anymore. Like I deleted all of it. It just says like Joel in my URL. And if you care who or want to care or follow or know who I am, like you can figure it out. But I was realizing that there was like, it had this hold on me in a weird way, and I wanted to let that go. And I'm not saying I'm not gonna stop making these videos. I still plan on making YouTube videos and sharing. It might be a little bit more like this, might be more sharing thoughts and less like design tutorials, and that's probably not good for my subscribers and people that want to know more about using Sketch or working at Google. But like I looked at my top 9 summary of like 2018, and the most liked posts, like 3/4 of them were work stuff, and the other 3 posts were me like reflecting on my family and like these very emo, depressed, life is difficult and I'm trying to get better posts. And that was like a real eye-opener for me, that like the things that most of the people that follow me cared about were that I'm a Google designer, and then these weird like sentimental family things. But those little lights were like me actually struggling a lot with a lot of different things in my life. And I guess what I'm saying is that I think that in 2019, the thing that I'm focusing on most is me, and not what I want people to think of me. And that sounds obvious. I guess it's significant for me because in the past, the last 10 years, I have been chasing, hustling and working for the career I wanted and the family I wanted and the house I wanted and like the city I wanted to live in, and like getting that to be happy, to be the thing that I wanted to do, to make enough money, to go on vacations and do the things that I wanted to do. And I'm so fortunate and thankful that that has happened, and I've been successful doing that. But realizing that getting there and still being a person that I'm not happy with is a really hard reality. And I think that like now that I have the support and the family and the career and the managers and the company and the job and the finances that I was fighting for, like I have some margin to be healthy and be a better me. And maybe I'll talk about that more this year. There's a lot that goes into that. I have 3 or 4 videos that I have documented that I haven't edited, that I might share. They might give some insight, like in retrospect. I've written 3 or 4 Medium posts that I didn't publish because they were a little too negative and a little too critical of our industry. I got a lot of great feedback that was hard to hear on those things as well. So yeah, 2018 was a struggle, and I'm excited for 2019. I have a lot of insight into me, into where I want to go. But yeah, that shit's been rough. And in the sentiment of Dan Mace's comment, like I wanted to share my losses. I wanted to share where I'm at and be vulnerable. I think that's the reason I started this vlog, was to like challenge my comfort and to be transparent and to share kind of my story in somewhat of a therapeutic way. Yeah, I know this has been rambly, and I'm not sharing this to like get sympathy or to be ungrateful or to seem that like I'm not acknowledging the privilege that I've had. This is more or less me kind of taking the veil off and saying, look, like it's very easy to observe people at big companies or that have careers that you want, or families, or live in places you want to live, and to envy those and think that like the grass is greener. And I think this is me trying to say that like everyone has shit they're dealing with. Everyone is hard on themselves, and I think everyone needs to like give themselves a little bit of grace and know that they're valuable regardless of where they live, what their life context is, where they work, how much money they make. Take care of yourselves, people. Don't care what other people think, and I hope you guys all have a great 2019. I hope I'll post more of these and get to engage with you more on this channel. But generally excited for this next year, and excited to focus on really me and not my career, and me as Joel, not BKLMN, the designer at Google. And to a lot of you that might seem like nuanced and dumb, this might be a video that is rambly and insignificant, but for me it's probably one of the most significant parts of my year, of like having this understanding of what last year was and what I want this year to be and the things that I want to develop and be different for me. Happy 2019 to all of you. Thanks for watching. Obviously, like, subscribe, comment, all those things if you want to be engaged and care about anything here. Get after people.